Have you ever asked yourself why you can't focus on some days? Let me tell you something. You're not alone because truly every one of us is actually fighting the same problem. But the truth is, this issue is bigger than what you imagine. And there's a hidden secret inside your mind that's secretly controlling you. That's why in today's video, I'll reveal the real reason behind your weak focus, why it's stopping you from reaching any goal you're striving for. Now, this isn't about distraction itself, but something much deeper. Of course, I know right now you're skeptical. You're probably thinking, how could someone like you, in just a few minutes, explain the cause of my lack of focus, how to solve it, and help me achieve something meaningful in life, and even surpass the people around me? I know you're doubtful about this, but listen, just keep watching with me until the end, and I'll show you. But if you keep focusing on that suggested video over there, the one with the cool thumbnail, believe me, no one will be able to help you. All right, since you've decided to ignore that suggested video and continue with me, let's travel back in time, specifically to the days of Napoleon. This man was one of the sharpest strategic minds in history. He knew something crucial. The real battle isn't fought with armies or weapons. The real battle happens and will always happen inside the mind. My friend Napoleon understood that if you can control a soldier's mind, you can control his focus. And if you control his focus, you can control everything. How he moves, how he fights, how the entire war unfolds. Now I know someone will come along and comment, yeah, but this is old stuff, useless unless you're running an empire. No, absolutely not. Life doesn't work that way. Because in reality, we are living the exact same game. But we're actually playing it on a much deeper level than Napoleon ever did. Sure, you might not have an army, but today our minds engage in daily mental battles, whether against ourselves or others. So yes, you're already in this game called life. And surely you have a goal right now that you can picture in your mind. But there's something preventing you from focusing on that goal. Maybe you keep changing your goal or constantly switching the path you take toward it. But one thing's clear, you're changing too many things. Now check this out. One recent psychology study states that we're currently living in an era of constant distractions. The problem? The human brain wasn't designed to handle this overwhelming amount of information and stimuli around us. But there's actually one key thing that makes your brain lose focus. And that thing is technology, because the human brain was never meant to stay in a state of continuous focus. Except in one specific situation, survival mode. For thousands of years, humans, especially men, faced harsh living conditions. Whether it was extreme cold or heat, war zones, or actual participation in warfare, the male brain evolved to be constantly alert to any sudden threat. But today, most of us, though not all, don't live under obvious physical threats. And by the way, I'm not part of that majority, which is why I know exactly what I'm talking about. Today, most threats aren't visible. They appear subtly, superficially, seeming harmless. Yet they are real threats to our future as humans, and especially to your personal future. These threats come disguised as simple distractions, often even enjoyable ones. From the moment you wake up, your brain starts receiving a massive flood of information, phone notifications, social media news, ads for products you like, games, messages from friends, etc. What you don't realize, my friend, is that each of these things feeds on your focus. And focus is like money. It's a finite resource. Every time you give it away, it diminishes. Because of this, you might feel like a victim. But no, if you understand me correctly, you're not a victim. You're a soldier in a much bigger game than you imagine. Think about any tyrannical figure in history, Hitler, Mussolini, Stalin, or any other evil ruler, ancient or modern. You'll find that distracting the public's attention and focus was always their top priority. Why? Because they knew without distraction, they couldn't control the masses. So have you ever considered that you might be living in a war you're not even aware of? It's not a war on a battlefield, but a war for your mind, against the countless distractions, pulling you away from your goals. To make this clearer, let me tell you about a king. His name was Louis XIV. Unlike many foolish kings, he was extremely intelligent. One of the smartest leaders in history. He understood the same secret. Minds must be distracted from important things and focused on trivial ones. During his time, Political and religious issues in Europe were incredibly complex. While people were searching for answers and demanding better lives, Louis knew that if he kept their minds occupied with trivial hobbies and entertainment, they'd never pose a real threat to him or his rule. Because without focus, a man is powerless. Imagine that in our age, with the internet and social media, we're now living in a far more dangerous era than the past. Yet most people remain completely unaware. That's why today our collective strength is unnaturally weak. My friend, when men waste their focus and energy like this, if a major crisis happened, say, if our sisters were being killed, we'd all talk about it, demand action, and this would weaken our enemies significantly. But no, my friend, life doesn't work that way. Life rewards action, not words. Yes, your voice may reach people, but if no one acts, nothing changes. And here's what people fail to understand. When we speak, we feel like we've done our duty. We sleep peacefully, feeling accomplished. But in reality, we've achieved nothing. We've simply refreshed our conscience while drifting further from our goal. My friend, if a man cannot focus, he will achieve nothing in life. By the way, this problem isn't new. I suffer from it. You suffer from it. Our children will suffer from it. But the more you strengthen your mindset to focus on fewer things, the more you'll achieve in life. As I said, the problem isn't really you. The systems around you, family, society, the world, are designed to distract your attention. You can't change the world, but you can change yourself. You can toughen your mindset so you become like a spear, capable of piercing through these systems to reach your goal. You might ask me, I get it, but how do I fix this? I'll answer in 2 words: the warrior mindset. What does having a warrior mindset mean? As I mentioned earlier, the only state where a human maintains full, continuous focus is during survival mode. In this state, a person becomes fully aware of everything happening around them, and their focus locks onto a single target: survival. Now, what if, my friend, you link your goal to survival? What if you absolutely refuse to accept a life where you don't achieve this goal? Whether it's becoming a millionaire or achieving another deeply important goal. If you're constantly frustrated because you haven't reached it, then you'll naturally enter a state of complete focus. Because once you reach that stage, your survival depends on that goal. Your existence becomes defined by it. Then external circumstances won't matter. You won't care about an unfair life. You won't care about people's opinions. You won't care about anything that pulls you away from your goal. Because to you, that goal is a necessity. Something you must achieve just to accept life itself. I told you how figures like Hitler lied to themselves in their personal diaries after losing battles, simply because they couldn't accept defeat. Victory was their goal, and without achieving it, life itself was unacceptable to them. So every day you're fighting this invisible enemy in your mind. Every day you're entering a war against notifications, against games, against friends calling you to hang out, against everything pulling you away from your goal. As I said, the problem isn't you. It's the system around you. But as long as you're willing to live without achieving your goal, you'll live your whole life without reaching it. But if you can't even imagine existing without achieving it, then you will achieve it, my friend. Because then all your focus, time, and energy will be directed solely toward that goal. You'll literally feel like your head is underwater, and the only way to breathe is to reach that goal. That's when you'll finally understand you're in a war. And to win this war, you must become a warrior. Your goal must be the only thing constantly on your mind. Like a soldier whose only thought is how to stay alive. Live every moment as if it's your last chance to reach your goal, because it truly might be. Then you'll stop making excuses. You'll stop procrastinating. You'll stop running away, because you'll clearly see these distractions serve no purpose. They won't bring you closer to your goal. Let me tell you a story, my friend, one you've likely lived or are living now. Imagine you decided to learn a new skill. Maybe your dream is to learn programming, or start your own business, or learn a new language. At first, you were highly motivated. You set a goal: I will master this. You told yourself, I will succeed. But as days passed, distractions started appearing. Your mind began drifting from your priorities. After half an hour of studying, you might start asking yourself, is this really important to me? Even if it is, will I actually succeed? These kinds of questions begin to creep in, And at that moment, a message pops up on your phone. You open it, see a funny reel from a friend. Just one quick look, then I'll get back to studying, you say. But before you know it, the moment to work on your goal has passed. This repeats over and over until a year goes by and you're still stuck in the same place. By the way, you're not alone. Many people face this exact struggle. I've struggled with it too many times. But just because most people don't progress due to this same problem doesn't mean you have to stay with them. All you need to do is learn to live with the warrior mindset. Focus all your energy on your goal and convince yourself that without it, you cannot exist. Then you'll find time to work on your goal because you'll seize every opportunity to move toward it. Trust me, your daily actions accumulate, whether positive or negative, whether they bring you closer or push you further from your goal. Right now, you might not feel the impact, but in 2 to 5 years, you'll notice a huge difference. You'll have traveled a very long distance, either directly toward your goal or completely away from it, and the entire difference will come down to the actions you took during that time. So if you have the warrior mindset, you'll develop sharp focus, and that means you cannot fail to achieve what you want. Now, if you've made it this far with me, my friend, you're taking this seriously.